Alright, so after you've got your skin, get your pressure cleaner to get all this meat and membrane and stuff off. And then once it's all clean, we can salt it. So once it's all clean, just wring all the water off it. Wring it out as much as you can. Take all these chunky bits off. So once you've wrung it out, it's dry, cover it in salt. Make sure you go all the way to the edge. Gotta get the edges. And when it's all set up with salt, you want it on a bit of an angle, not flat. That way, all the liquid can drain out. Otherwise, it just sits there and pools in the middle. So you want it on an angle. So once you've got the skin salted, it should be a nice jerky sort of texture. It's sort of quite hard. There's not much, there should be no moisture left in it. Just get all the salt off. Once all the salt's gone, just follow the directions of whatever tanning kit you've got. I've just got a leather one. It tells you on the back, but give it a hose off to just get rid of everything. Now for your solution, again, just follow whatever your kit says, because they're all different. But this one's 36 litres of water, 2 kilos of salt, which I've stirred in so it's all saturated, and half a litre of your solution. So once that goes in, give it a mix around. Make sure that it's spread all the way throughout. When you put your skin in, make sure you roll it so you're not getting big bubbles through there. If you get bubbles in it, it won't be tanning there because it'll be exposed to air, not the liquid. So essentially what's happening now is all the moisture that you pulled out with the salt is going to be replaced by this solution, and that is what's going to tan it. Because once that solution goes into the skin, it will preserve the skin so that it doesn't rot and bacteria can't eat away at it. And then we can do all the like thinning and stuff a bit later, but make sure you get all the bubbles out. And if you need to, just sit something over the top of it, and that way it'll stay fully submerged. You don't want it coming up, and you don't want bubbles up under the skin. So I avoid the bubbles and make sure it stays under. I just put a plastic tub on top. I'll just put the lid on, like on top of that, so that it doesn't get dust and gunk and stuff in it. And then you just sit a weight on top. Make sure it's balanced, and once you've got it sitting so it doesn't fall off, that will keep your skin under the solution. And then I'll just check on it each day and rotate it to make sure any patches that are in crinkles or folds or bubbles or things come out. So after 2 weeks or 10 days or however long you tan it for, pull it out of solution. And give it a rinse. So just rinse it off in some water, get all the solution off. You can see it all coming out now. after you've rinsed it, you just stretch it out as far as you can, staple it up and stretch it, and that'll help break the skin fibres. I'll also run the grinder over it just slightly in the thicker spots, just enough to thin it slightly, but you want to be careful that you don't put the grinder through the skin. So once you've thinned it out and got it nice and broken up and all this sort of stuff off, get your leather lube, pour it sort of all over the skin, and then you just spread it out and let the skin soak it all in. Just keep going until the whole skin's covered, and then leave it for about a week or 2 weeks to dry, and as it dries it'll soak up this oil and be good to go. Next step, once it's dried out, is just get the sander, give it a bit of a sand to smooth it off and thin it out that one last bit. Alright, so the last step is just to trim just the edges off, just past these staples, so that it gets a nice neat edge. Now when you do this, you don't want to just cut it straight on here like that, because you'll cut straight across the hairs. So you just sort of hold it up. Just cut, as always, cut from the inside out, but you just sort of go across like this. Otherwise, that way it doesn't cut the hairs, you just have a nice neat edge. And once it's all trimmed, you've got your edge. It's reasonably soft, it's not a professional job, but gets it done. And you've got a nice deer skin rug. Around the armpits, if you want, you can just run the knife up over there if you don't like where the hair's thin, but each armpit will look like that. It's your own personal preference if you want to cut it thinner or not, but I just like to leave it sort of whole.